Hello and welcome. With Christmas being a special time of year for self-indulgence and gluttony, we thought that this would be a good time for Mark to talk about Unilever spinning off its ice cream business into a new investment opportunity, Magnum. Will it be a Knickerbocker glory or a rocky road? If you're already drooling, stay tuned to find out in this episode 42 of The Desert Island Investor. This episode of the podcast is generously hosted by Progressive Equity Research. Visit their website at progressive-research.com. Good afternoon, Mark.
Good afternoon, Paul.
Okay, this is a first on the podcast because you are reviewing a stock that you hold, which is the ice cream business Magnum, ticker symbol MICC, but it's also a stock that you haven't consciously acquired.
Yes, the desert island briefly becomes the desert island. See what I did there, Paul? Yeah. I've been waiting 3 years to do that one. Magnum demerged out of Unilever earlier this month, and I've been investing for over 40 years, and I've had numerous examples like this. Sometimes they're welcome, other times not.
Okay, well, as usual, can we have those base numbers, please?
Yes, it has a market cap of 7.25 billion, based on the share price currently at £11.9275. There's no dividend, as it's a newborn. But Degproof Petercam calculate that the forward adjusted PE is 11 against an average of 18, and that's comparing with a basket of Nestle, Hershey's and Mondelez who are in a similar field.
And this business is not listed on just one or two stock exchanges, but three.
Yes, Amsterdam, where it's headquartered, New York and also London, where I do my fishing.
Okay, so Unilever has demerged Magnum. So my first question is, why?
Well, generally, it's when it's thought that what is being hived out is not core to where the mother business wants to go, or it's thought that this process can unlock value. And the value of the two separate businesses when split may be more than what it was when they were all bundled together. The hived-off entity may have a takeover premium, and it's suddenly listed separately. It's a focused entity, and in the case of, in this case, it's ice cream, and it's a much smaller market cap that makes it more consumable to a predator.
Now, we've been discussing the possibility of a demerger for some time. When was it first announced?
19th of March 2024, and the first day of trading was the 8th of December this month, 2025. So that's nearly 2 years, and things like this do take some lining up.
Right. Names are very important, particularly for a new business. And Unilever's ice cream brands include Magnum, Ben & Jerry's, Carte d'Or, and perhaps most famously, Walls. So why do you think Unilever chose the name Magnum to lead with?
Well, the simple answer is that I don't know, but it's a good one. Magnum comes from the Latin great, and over many years, Unilever have invested greatly in promoting it as a premium brand. It suggests indulgence, a treat that's targeted at adults. And I'd suggest that this is wiser than using a product which is aimed at children or a commodity fighting line. And naturally, with ice cream, we think of taste, but there's been a lot of marketing onto that crack noise of the chocolate. And this is clever marketing. It conjures up an experience like the glugging of that malt whiskey into the Waterford Crystal cut glass tumbler.
Okay, can you provide us with a little history, the roots of the business?
Within the stable of brands, Breyers is a US operation. They were founded way back in 1866 and became part of Unilever in 1993. They are the oldest manufacturer of ice cream in the US. And although probably little known in the UK, they're one of the top brands globally. In the 1920s, Unilever bought Walls, probably equally well known for their sausages. And they expanded into ice cream as sausage sales dipped in the summer, and thus this utilised their workforce. And what a great piece of business thinking this was. In 1929, the 5-cent popsicle was launched. In the 1950s, the Cornetto was born in Naples. In 1963, Unilever threw the big switch and went on a spending spree. They acquired Algida in Italy, Frigo in Spain, Ola in the Netherlands, Mico in France, Kibon in Brazil, and Holanda in Mexico. Ben & Jerry was formed in 1978, and the same year Carte d'Or is launched in Paris, and that was as a dessert brand for restaurants. In 1981, Walls developed Viennetta, which until this last week I'd never tried, Paul.
Oh, it's nice, Viennetta. Oh, yeah, I like Viennetta.
Okay, yeah, it was all right. Not quite as good as the baked Alaska I had in the Ivy, but, a change. Calippo and Tangle Twister, 1982. 1989, the Magnum itself. In 93, Unilever starts selling into China, which is a big market, as we know. And in 1994, we have Solero. So these are just some of the highlights. And as you can see, some very strong brands and ice lollies as well as ice cream. And brands are worth a lot, Paul.
Now, in the UK, they have recently invested in their own production site.
In the UK, we still have some manufacturing. There's been a £50 million upgrade at their plant in Gloucester. And this was founded in 1959, and they employ nearly 500 people there, and nearly 3 million Calippos, 2 million Viennettas, which we just mentioned, and 1 million Ben & Jerry's tubs are produced at that facility every week. The site is the second largest ice cream factory in Europe, producing over 600 million ice creams per year. And this investment is targeted to increase their output by 50% versus 2023. Now, I'd be like Charlie Bucket in the Wonka factory, Paul. It will be a world of pure imagination.
Okay, so moving away from the Magnum Ice Cream Company's offerings specifically, what's your take on the wider world of ice cream?
Well, Paul, I love ice cream. It's a fun product, and I literally don't know anybody who does not like ice cream. Unsurprisingly, I'm a vanilla man. I'm a man of simple tastes. I'm very taken with vanilla. I must admit that I do make a mean creme brulee. So, what's your favourite flavour, Paul?
Yeah, I too. I like vanilla ice cream. I mean, I like the old-fashioned, slightly yellow-coloured vanilla ice cream that actually had a vanilla-ish taste. I'll be honest, the Carte d'Or vanilla is very good, and their chocolate and strawberry flavours are good too. You get a scoop of each, makes for a very nice banana split.
All right. So is this what we got, like a Cornish ice cream, or what? That's a yellowish one, isn't it?
Yeah. I'm not a great consumer of Cornish ice cream because I don't live in Cornwall, and I don't. I dare say if it was sold up here, it'll just be at a premium, and I'm not sure whether I'd like it. I'm not a great fan of clotted cream, to be honest with you. So I don't know if that has any connection with Cornish ice cream.
Yeah, when we get to our age, you've got to make sure it's our blood that's not clotting, Paul.
Yes, it's cholesterol cream, isn't it? Really, I guess I should call it.
Yeah. Anyway, in 2021, Lexham Insurance, they specialise in insuring ice cream vans, and they did a survey covering 121 countries, and this was on searches of where to buy specific flavours. And this is where I turn into Alan Fluff Freeman, for those who remember him, nod off. And in 10th position, dark chocolate, 9th, caramel, 8th, toffee, 7, banana, 6, and this is cheating a bit, Neapolitan, which is a mixture of chocolate, vanilla and strawberry, 5, buttered pecan, 4, cookie dough, 3, mint choc chip, which I was first introduced to in the Akash Indian restaurant in Darwin. In second place, now this surprised me, is vanilla, and in first place, chocolate. Chocolate. Yeah, chocolate's the best-selling ice cream in the world. So there we go.
Wow. Okay. So I mean, as we become adults, we often dispense with lots of the interests, activities and tastes that we enjoyed as a child. But as you say, the temptation to buy ice cream often stays with us as grown-ups.
Well, I wouldn't dream of eating a bag of sweets now, blackjacks or a fruit salad or white mice, but ice cream has stayed with me. And when I'm having a dessert and ask would I like custard cream or ice cream, 9 times out of 10 it's ice cream. I mean, do you remember that excitement when you could hear the chimes of that ice cream van playing Old Soul Mayo, Popeye the Sailor Man, Green Sleeves are match of the day? You know, you'd see it in the street, that ridiculous looking design that has hardly ever changed, brightly coloured, a little piece of magic in an East Lancashire mill town. And, you know, I've been lucky to travel to parts of the world. You know, as a child, we never went abroad, and my parents never had a passport. It was a mixture of desire, but also finances. And Darwin for our holidays, we had a week and a week only away on holiday in the UK, places like Scarborough, Bridlington, where I remember us getting sick on the Yorkshire Bell, Exmouth, Llandudno, Bournemouth, Western-super-Mare, Skegness. And invariably, you know, Pat and Bill would take my brother and I to an ice cream parlour. A parlour, how grand, you know, and I would have a Knickerbocker glory, just tin fruit, ice cream, topped with chopped nuts, a cherry and a wafer in a tall glass, eaten with an equally long spoon. And I thought this was the height of decadence. And I had a great childhood, and my parents did a lot for me relative to what they had the opportunity to do. And just going into a parlour now would catapult me back in time. And if you were to say a 99, I would imagine that 99% of the UK population would know what we're referring to. It's a vanilla ice cream cone with a Cadbury's flake in it. There are many theories and myths as to where the 99 came from, but we'll not go into that just now.
Okay. I believe you do have an ice cream related anecdote about Cleveleys.
Yeah, instead of yesteryear, let's bring it up to this year. And, you know, it's not all airports, holidays, and restaurants. We have more modest days that are still very enjoyable, certainly preferable to when I was in an office or driving down the motorway. And we went to Cleveleys. It's on the coast between Blackpool and Fleetwood. There's an excellent fishing shop there, Kay's. Give it a try. It's as good as I've had. And there's a haberdasher's that Elaine sometimes goes into. And she bought some wool. And then we had a bracing walk along the front. And on the return to Cleveleys, I said, do you fancy an ice cream? And it was a pointless question, as I already knew the answer. And to form, I had 2 scoops of vanilla plus a flake. So sorry if people think I'm being a bit flash. Now, this is some months ago, but I still remember what Elaine had. Scoop of salted caramel, scoop of pistachio. And I polished mine off and then watched Elaine savour hers in silence. And later, you know, she just reflected with such passion. You know, I really enjoyed that. And in a world where we can bring some happiness for a few pounds, you know, how much is that worth? And then this year, I was on the cricket club with my very good friend, Gary Jackson. He was my best man when I got married. And for that, he has a lot to answer for. You know, he could have tried to talk some sense into me. But we generally watch the cricket. We have a good chat, a drink or two together. And there's an ice cream van that comes onto the ground. It's got the protocol not to play the music and disrupt the match. But instead of a drink, you know, Gary said, do you fancy an ice cream? And, you know, Gary queued up alongside children, pensioners, players, all demographics. And there we were, 2 old mates of 45 years having an ice cream and enjoying it. You know, these little instances linger in the mind.
Right, if you if you have 2 flakes, is that called a 198? I suppose
I'm not sure, but I don't. Perhaps you could be onto something there. But it could be the next big thing.
Right. Okay. Well, there've been sugar taxes on soft drinks and milkshakes, and most purveyors of food on the high street these days haven't got the courage to season their food with salt anymore. Plus, there has been talk of banning fast food adverts completely. So, from an investment threat standpoint, do you think there could be a risk to ice cream?
Well, it's a perhaps, certainly. Anything that gives us enjoyment or fun must be bad for us. And I don't think anything like that would go down well, but does seem to be a direction of travel. And, you know, ultimately, you know, life's to be lived, but our politicians and medical advisors want us to exist. And in truth, there's no need for spirits, wine, beer, cordials, carbonated drinks, tea or coffee. You know, we could all simply drink water, you know. You know, if that's the goal, we may live longer, but would we feel fulfilled and enjoy life? There's a move towards healthier lifestyles, both voluntary and through coercion. And, you know, weight loss drugs are all the rage at the moment. And a lot of this is to alleviate pressure on healthcare systems. And it reminds me a little bit of COVID. You know, protect the NHS. Well, surely the NHS should be protecting us. And, you yourself have mentioned that you'd like to lose a little weight in the new year, Paul. But to be fair, you've had a lot on your plate lately, haven't you?
Well, you mean metaphorically speaking, or
Well, yes,
food
yeah.
wise?
Yeah, you can take that as you wish. But I would imagine that people in emerging economies would take a very dim view on taxes based upon obesity and health. They've waited centuries to be able to afford an ice cream, and they don't want it immediately withdrawn from them.
Okay, looking back, it's clear to see how ice cream has grown in popularity, but what about looking forward?
Towards F&B are a global consulting firm, and they predict that the global ice cream market will grow by a compound annual growth rate of 4% between 2025 and 2034 to reach $173.6 billion. Now, this is a big market, of which Magnum are the biggest player with 21% of the global market. And for Froneri, who they own Häagen-Dazs, they've got 11%. As an aside, vegan is expected to grow at 9.9% CAGR. So this is something from Innova Market Insights, and it says the fastest growing countries in ice cream sales are India, China, Indonesia, Vietnam, and Brazil, with India and China projected to have the fastest ice cream sales growing in the upcoming years. Again, like we said in the Smurfit episode, it's the emerging consumer class. And Indonesia, in that mini supermarket, I would sometimes leave with a Magnum from the freezer, as were local Indonesians. And they increasingly have money to afford a treat. So a little factoid, Paul, quiz time. Which country consumes the most ice cream per capita? And I was surprised at this.
Well, I would guess America.
Well, they're second, right? And I actually thought it would be Italy, and I was wrong. The leaders are New Zealand with 28.4 litres per person, right? And that is in second place where you mentioned the America. They're at 20.8 litres. So New Zealand are 36.5% ahead of those in second place. So they mustn't eat anything else. That information's from World Population Review. I thought it was Italy, but apparently they are mad about an ice cream flavour called Hokey Pokey, which is vanilla, but it's got honeycomb toffee chunks. Actually, I was at a little soiree recently, hosted by Funsmith, and I was speaking to an Irish farmer who introduced me, a guy called Tom Clinton, and he was previously the president of the Irish Farmers Association, and he's got farms in his native Ireland, but also in New Zealand. And we just got chatting about this, and he said, "Yeah, I know at first hand that ice cream is a very, very big industry in New Zealand." It's just an example about when you're doing your research. It's not just sat in front of a computer. It's just talking to people about things and listening and getting little snippets of information and piecing it all together. Also, this data is a little dated. It's from the Grocer in 2014. But women ate ice cream on more occasions than men, and it was 53.2 million versus 64.9. This is in the UK. So this is occasions, but not necessarily volume.
Okay. Interesting news about women, but of course, ice cream sales are not just limited to humans, are they?
Well, until this last week, I was totally unaware of dog ice cream. I was out walking with another very good mate of mine, Tom Blundell, and we went into the Ramblers Cafe in Tockles, if people know that. And outside, they had an A-board advertising it, dog ice cream. And according to Market Report Analytics, the market is around $500 million, and the CAGR projection between 2025 and 2033 is forecast at 15%. So it's a niche, but the growth is outstripping that of humans. It's made from sunflower butter and not dairy. Tom's dog is called Henry, And he's tried it as Henry, but he prefers regular ice cream. He's a bit fussy. So apparently, dog ice cream is safe to humans, but it does taste a bit bland. So don't get them mixed up when you're buying them at the supermarket. And Ben and Jerry's, who are part of Magnum, they have one called Doggy Desserts. So dog ice cream, Paul, is increasingly popular. Do you like that?
No.
I'm on fire today, mate.
Well, that's one word for it. All right, well, that leads on nicely to our next topic because although most people will agree with you that ice cream is a fun based product, one of Unilever's brands that comes under the new Magnum umbrella is Ben and Jerry's. Now, if you Google Ben and Jerry's, strangely enough, ice cream is the last thing you're likely to read about. So, what's the story with that particular brand?
Ben and Jerry have long used their product to support certain political, environmental, or humanitarian matters. And for me, I just want to buy a product. I don't want to buy into a cause. Unilever bought Ben and Jerry in 2000, and the co-founders said Unilever and Magnum had unlawfully blocked their company from what they call honouring its social mission. Now, I don't know the details of the agreement or contract, but I think Unilever would have been unwise to agree to something that they could not honour. But equally, Ben and Jerry were perhaps unwise to think they can sell a business and not lose sovereignty. And this is from the BBC, which itself is not unknown to champion its own agenda. And it reads, Magnum said, the independent members of Ben & Jerry's board are not and have never been responsible for the Ben & Jerry's commercial strategy and execution. He said the company will continue to focus on ongoing, impactful campaigns close to its communities, including campaigning for improved conditions in refugee accommodation in the UK and freedom of speech rights in the United States. Mr. Cohen, that's the Ben in Ben and Jerry, said in an Instagram video external on Tuesday that he is creating a new watermelon-flavoured sorbet, calling for ideas for the product's name and what ingredients should be added. The watermelon has become a symbol of solidarity with Palestinians due to its colours, which are similar to those of the Palestinian flag, red, green, black and white. The American entrepreneur said Ben and Jerry's were prevented by Unilever from creating the dessert. I'm doing what they couldn't, Mr. Cohen says from his set in a kitchen. I'm making a watermelon-flavoured ice cream, calls for permanent peace in Palestine, and calls for repairing the damage that was done there. In 2021, Ben & Jerry's refused to sell its products in areas occupied by Israel. Its Israeli operation was sold by Unilever to a local licensee, allowing its ice cream to continue being sold in the occupied West Bank. Now, I think this is where a business enters into mission creep. The causes you pursue may not align with those that buy your ice cream. And having said that, I listened to an interview on Times Radio where they are interested in buying back the Ben and Jerry brand. So I hope they put a bid in, and then it can go back into being a private entity, and they're free to do whatever they wish. There's no wider shareholder base that collectively own the business, and I would say that this is a big issue as Ben and Jerry account for 14% of the Magnum turnover, and I want an escape, ice cream to be an escape from the world. And it's a bit like TV. It used to be about entertainment, but I'm constantly being preached and lectured and given a social message. Any thoughts, Paul?
Well, yes, I agree. The obsession with the message has become a bit of a problem. I mean, I used to like watching Doctor Who battling the Daleks as some escape from the real world, but when I saw an episode recently, it had all the hallmarks of Disney's obsession with subliminally telling viewers how they should behave and what their attitude should be towards race, diversity, and inclusion, and all that. As far as Magnum goes, yeah, from a marketing viewpoint, I do think it's important for them to keep politics out of their ice cream because it may not be a flavour of politics that their customers like. Anyway, despite all that, you sound very enthusiastic, and I assume that you're not looking to sell. Do you think you will add?
Well, let's wait and see. There's no rush for me. I've other holdings where there are less unknowns presently, and Magnum has been operating as a separate entity within Unilever, but it's newly born. Let us learn about this new team and see how a year or two of trading pans out. Suddenly funds like have got another holding on their books, and it may be something that they don't want. They may have a limit to their number of holdings, or it may be outside their core skills or their remit. Or with big funds, they're left with a relatively small rump. And there will be those looking to dispose quickly, and equally those wanting to buy. And it could be choppy for a while as people rebalance their portfolios. Now, if we look at Fundsmith's last fact sheet, 4% is UK focused, and my understanding is that was solely Unilever. Now, by my calculation, their Magnum percentage of the fund will be approximately now 0.3%. And the Fundsmith fund size is 17 billion, with a median market cap of 107.2 billion. So just like myself, it will be the foot of their portfolio. And in addition, Unilever have retained a 20% holding, which they aim to dispose of in the next 5 years. So that won't help the liquidity. Now, for Fundsmith, they might be too peewee, and also that 20%, when it comes on the market, even in tranches, it may depress the price. 2 weeks ago, I was in the city at that soiree organised by Fundsmith for their 15th anniversary. And I was speaking to many of the team, including Daniel Washburn, Julian Robbins, and Terry Smith himself. And I wouldn't be so coarse as to ask, will you be keeping Magnum or building a stake or dumping, as clearly they would not tell me. But I did mention it and look for a twitch of an eyebrow or a nervous cough, but nothing. So they're certainly better poker players than me.
Well, perhaps it is a minnow compared to the Goliath that is Unilever, but at 7.25 billion, it is still a very big business. So where does it list in the FTSE?
That's a salient point, Paul. Theoretically, should be around the late 60s within the FTSE 100. But as we said earlier, its primary listing is in Amsterdam. And it's a bit like Smurfit Westrock that we covered last time, where it has a primary listing in New York. So therefore, they're both emitted from the FTSE 100 rankings. And from memory, the FTSE indices are updated quarterly. But I believe Magnum will not appear as Smurfit won't, as they are both secondary listings.
Okay, but surely that's only a cosmetic issue, isn't it?
Well, yes and no. A lot of money goes into trackers, and this weight of money is helping support share prices. So FTSE 100 trackers only buy and sell what's in the FTSE 100. So they won't be dealing in Smurfit or Magnum. And it might make them slightly undervalued and big value for human beings. I don't know. But they will be on within other trackers. So I don't know. It could be swings and roundabouts.
Right. And finally, I believe that Unilever could be disposing of some further household names.
Yes, there's a trio, Marmite, Bovril, and my favourite, Coleman's, 3 power brands, but it looks like they do not feature in the future direction of Unilever. And it'll be interesting if they're sold as a collective, and I'm sure there will be a lot of interest from the usual suspects. And again, it will all be down to price.
All right. Thank you very much indeed for that review of Magnum. Mark.
Right, Paul. I think at this stage, just looking forward to next year, you're just going to tell us a little bit about your brainchild that you've got lined up for us.
Yeah, because every time we stop recording, you generally have a good old whinge about the investing space generally. I thought we might put some of your complaints together in a series of podcasts. So I've created a concept called Desert Island Discord, which rather than stock reviews, it's an opportunity for you to actually to gripe about the things that have happened. There's a lot of interesting subject matter to have a go at. So that'll be coming early in the new year. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
So yeah, so am I. And if it's about things that upset us, Paul, the running time could be about 8 hours per episode. Is that right?
Yes, we've got to have to keep an eye on the time, because once we get started, well, it's easy to drift, isn't it? When we start off complaining about one thing, and before we know it, we're solving the whole.
Well, we know about drifting. That's how we ended up on this desert island, Paul. But
yeah, very true, very true.
But it's coming. It's this time of year, and this is our last episode. Not ever, just of this year. And I'd just like to say a few thank yous if I can, Paul. Yeah, I think it's fair to say that 2025 has certainly been a step change for us. Early on in the year, MP Evans gave us access to their their bank estate, and that covered 4 days. Thank you very much. We were contacted by the FT for our thoughts on Entain. We contributed an article to the Investor Show Guide. In May, August, and October, we had record downloads, and on YouTube, we've attracted more subscribers than in year one and year two combined. And, we've been very flattered that a number of people have asked to guest on the Desert Island Investor, and also that we've been asked to guest on other podcasts. However, in both cases, we felt that they weren't quite a fit. And also, during this year, I joined the board of Zytronic PLC as a non-executive, and was subsequently elected at the annual general meeting, and did get named in the Sunday Times. And I'm just intrigued as to where this rail is going to go. And, the story of, my life certainly continues to surprise me. And I'd like to thank the guest castaways that we had in order: Adam Rackley, Joe Barry, and Peter Hasley Chaplin, 3 top quality guests who taught us a lot. Thank you, gentlemen. And then there's the progressive team who host and promote our podcast. And, to everybody who subscribed, liked, shared, or just commented, or sent in a question, or simply just listened. But of course, there's one special person who I literally can't do this without, and that's you, Paul. And you've been a great support. And when I was looking for a co-host, you were the standout candidate. You had the ideal criteria: professional, diligent, a broad knowledge, but above all, cheap. And following our success in 2025, I'm hereby announce that I'm prepared to extend your contract for another 12 months.
Yeah, well, that's very good of you. Well, good, considering I was the only person prepared to do it. I think that's quite. I'm knocked out by that.
Yeah, well, it might be a bit different now, but if I can be serious for a moment, I had something of a personal problem to contend with, and I came back earlier in the year, and I confided in you, Paul, and you're a great support and a great strength to me, and I really do appreciate that. Now, I'm generally away this time of year, but we're actually here in person now, and I know that you've been looking very, very closely at this Hessian sack that washed ashore. You've been looking at it expectantly, of thinking. So there you go, mate. I think inside there's 3 gifts. They're not gold, frankincense, and myrrh, but and I'm not a wise man from the east. I'm not even a wise man from anywhere, but a man from Lancashire. So there's 3 gifts, I think, there, and I think you'll be naturally, by the shape of it, you might be naturally drawn to one before the others. I don't know.
Yes, there's definitely there's a bottle, isn't there? Yeah. I will do that one first.
Yeah, go on.
I've noticed you wrap all your presents in envelopes.
Yeah, well, every pound's a prisoner, mate.
Yeah, I just assumed that before you left our last employment, you might have raided the stationery cupboard or something. Oh, right, lovely. Captain Morgan's rum. Big Cuba Libre fan, so that'll go down very nicely with that, Mark. Thank you very much indeed. Right, there's a small one here. And this is...
These all came from Indonesia, by the way. That Captain Morgan's rum came from Indonesia.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, these are all from my travels.
All right, it's a jar of Lada Putih Bubak AMS. What on earth is that?
Is it white pepper?
And, right, yes, it's powder. Right, okay. I thought you smuggled me some.
No, I didn't bring anything that back. No, so it's apparently when we went to Banker, to the plantation, it's very well known for its high quality white pepper. So I bought some of that. Nobody campaigns against black pepper plantations, just palm white. So I've got that. And there is a reason behind this. And that turtle soup that you've been making us, I'm sure it's very, very nourishing, Paul. But if I can be honest with you, it's a bit bloody tasteless. So perhaps you can put that to good use.
Right. Okay. And then the last one, which I'm hoping isn't part of a turtle, which is it is a tote bag with a pair of sandals, which are very nice. Oh, there I can look proper beach kind of type bursting
Yeah.
with those on. Yeah, that looks fabulous. That's great. Thank you very much indeed.
All right. They are a 9. I hope that's your size.
Yes, it is actually.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Well guessed. So
Mm.
excellent. Very nice, Mark. Excellent stuff. I mean, the only thing I haven't opened is your Qatar Airways hospitality bag, which I believe has some socks in it and a
Yeah.
sleep mask.
Ear
But
defend. Yeah. You can.
yeah,
That might come in handy for you, mate.
maybe I'll save that till next year, just in case there's a shortfall. Right, excellent. So I would extend my additional thanks to everybody who supported us this year and the last 2 years and subscribed. Obviously, before I go, it would be remiss of me not to say please do like and subscribe. It does help the channel. Right, just before we go, we held a carol concert down in the grotto yesterday for a few friends that we'd invited over from the mainland. Now, I'd asked the parrots if any of them played a musical instrument, and much to my surprise, it turns out that Warren plays the tuba. Anyway, I got them all decked out in little Salvation Army outfits, and here they are, accompanying Mark in the grand finale. Thanks as always for listening, and see you next year.
Let's take it away, fellas. Silent night, holy night, all is calm, all is bright, round yon virgin mother and child, holy infant so tender and mild, sleep in heavenly peace, sleep in heavenly peace. Merry Christmas, everyone.